Crawdad, what's up, man? What's up? Hello. What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Oh! We got lots of fun stuff to discuss, I feel like, tonight. Including, of course, the thing that's in the title, the profit loss sheet for May. It is the beginning of June, the 1st of June. And so I'm going to be going over, obviously, how well May went in terms of profits, losses, which cards I felt like sold a lot, which cards stayed stagnant, changes I saw from last month to this month, all sorts of stuff via my spreadsheet that I do each month. Chilling with this how did you get a 3-day weekend this weekend? I got a 3-day weekend last weekend because of Memorial Day, but did you just take a day off? Also, Charlotte Collecticon. If you guys are looking at going to Charlotte at all, I'm going to be vending, which is awesome. And I got placed in my group. So in the Discord that I'm in, they had like 5 section leaders, so they purchase out 5 sections, which I don't know how many tables that is, if it's 9 tables, 10 tables, 8 tables. I think it might be 10 tables, I'm not really sure, somewhere around there. And basically each section leader was assigned people, because I think we had like 45-ish people who signed up to vend at the event, and everyone got dispersed into their section. So I got put in the section with Catch 'em All Collectibles and Jake from Pokenomics and Ponga and a bunch of cool people. So that's going to be super awesome. But yeah, so that was all divvied up. Just cool. Cool. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be in September. I think it's less than a week after my birthday. Or it might be a little over a week after my birthday. It's around my birthday, which is pretty cool. Not on my birthday, just around my birthday. We're on summer schedule, so off on Fridays till the end of July. Oh, yeah, because you work at a, what, like a school, a university, or is it a high school? I forget. I forgot about that. Yeah, you work in a school system. That makes sense. I wish I had a summer schedule. I think about it sometimes. I feel like it would be awesome to work 4 10-hour days and have a 3-day weekend instead of 5 regular days and a 2-day weekend. I would love like a 4-day work week. That'd be sick. It'd be a little longer days, but to have the entire Friday off, that would be incredible. Be absolutely incredible. It would be incredible. I've been buying so many cards this week. I feel like all week I've been hitting the buy button on Buy-E. Just buying up all sorts of different things. I don't know if any of them are good plays, but I feel like they will be. They will at least be, I think, in the range of, you know, like a $50, $60 PSA 10. And then profit on it should be pretty decent, but nothing crazy. I have also been buying my normal like mid-era Japanese, all that stuff when I find stuff. But it's definitely gotten to the point where I need to start buying more of those like smaller profit margin plays because they seem to sell pretty quickly. I feel like a lot of people are more willing to purchase like $35 to $60 PSA 10s instead of like $200. Obviously the buyer pool is a lot bigger. You make a little less. It's a little bit more work, but it's pretty decent. It all adds up in the end, you know. So that'll be more going into the breakdown specifically. What else happened this week? I don't feel like anything else happened this week. Memorial Day weekend was boring. Nothing too interesting going on there. I got my payout from the booth this week. We'll go over that. Yeah, otherwise, I don't know. I've been watching... Oh, which anime? Which anime? First of all, Hell's Paradise hasn't had a new episode for like 2 weeks, and I have no idea what's happening. I don't understand why. It was supposed to get a new episode on Saturday, but there just wasn't one. So I don't know if they're taking like a hiatus for a little while and then coming back or what. I have to look into that, but pretty pissed off about that because I've been really enjoying that. Looking forward to the new episodes. Oh, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer has been insanely good this season once again. I feel like people who wrote off Demon Slayer in the first season are just morons. I'm sorry, but if you were like, oh, this first season of Demon Slayer is pretty slow, I don't really think it's that good. Like, you have missed 3 amazing seasons after that initial, like, build-up, getting to the good shit. Because, oh my god. Season 2, the entertainment, or was it the entertainment? What was the train? Mugen Train? That was sick. The entertainment district was amazing. That fight scene at the end of that, holy shit. And then this season so far has been so good too. Like, it's incredible. It's actually incredible. What's up, Grumsy? I don't think this week's Demon Slayer is out yet. I did watch one this week, but I think it was from last week is the one that I watched. The one about the other Hashira guy, like the Hashira's brother and his history. That one was this week or last week, whichever one. I don't know. The last one that I watched. But yeah, pissed. I gotta look this up because it's frustrating the hell out of me, and I just let's see. When is Hell's Paradise coming back? Hell's Paradise new episode. It's supposed to come out on Saturdays, I swear. At least that's what Alexa said, but Alexa's wrong all the time, so. Episode 9 release date. Saturday, June 3rd. Oh, this episode's been delayed a week. Okay. Alright. Fine, I guess. I've been really liking that anime, too, and the last episode was super good, so. Definitely looking forward to the next episode of that. So you'll have to check it out. Yeah, new season's out. I think there's, oh man, 5 or 6 episodes of the new season are out right now. So yeah, it's been really good. Really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, because I remember when Attack on Titan came out, and the same kind of thing happened where I think after the first season, there was a bunch of haters. And it was the typical like new anime hits a mainstream audience, and then all the hardcore anime people start hating on it because it's popular. But it's funny how all of that hate has basically turned into like everyone just loving the show. And honestly, I actually liked the show less after like season 3 when they did like the big change into how the story was going. I actually liked the show, I think, less after that change as opposed to the first, 2.5 seasons or whatever. But the sentiment seemed to switch where like it was so good for so long that people had to come around to it. And I hope that happens with Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer is so freaking good. And I hope that kind of the anime purists that are just mad that it's gone out to like a mainstream audience, I hope that they come back to it because it's actually so good. But I feel like that purist mentality is currently on like the hate Demon Slayer train. Same with like My Hero. My Hero is definitely hated by that community. But yeah, I don't know. Demon Slayer is just too good. Just too good. Yeah, how are you doing this week, Grumstein? Anything new? Crawdad, you got your first PSA submission back, I think you said, right? How did that go? Did you get the grades you thought you were going to get? Were you surprised by anything? Are you going to be selling or keeping things for a collection, or what's going on with all that? What are you guys going to be doing with that stuff? Oh, you got both your submissions back. Nice. Very nice. Doing good, man. Just been waiting on this 40 card return. It's been in grading for 3 weeks. Yeah. I had a submission that just went into... What up, Garen? How's it going? I had a submission that just got into assembly, but it was in grading for a long time. So, going to be listing all the 10s this weekend. Nice, nice. Did you get your Chunkachu back? I know you're going to wait to send that one off, right? Hopefully that one got the 10 for you. At this point, I wonder if that card's 10 price is just as much as its raw price was back then when you pulled it. Yeah, it's crazy how expensive those cards were back then and what they're at now, even in the highest grade. There's been a massive retrace on some cards for sure. Haven't sent it off yet. Gotcha. Garen, how you doing? Anything new happened this week for you? Yeah, I've started to send out more regular submissions, but smaller submission sizes. So I think like every couple weeks I want to send out like a 30 card submission, and then eventually I'll just consistently be getting submissions back like every couple weeks and listing them and selling them, and it'll be more like a less of a like send 120 cards and get 120 cards back and list them all and sell them all. It'll be more of like a steady in and out. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to transition to. The problem is now I have a bunch of cards that I want to send in, and Collecticon's coming up, so part of me is like, just get a big submission in now and hope that they come back before Collecticon in September, which they should. It's about a couple months right now for PSA, I think. So I feel like they would if I got them out. I have a few other submissions out, you know. But yeah, I've bought a ton of... I think I have like 70 orders at Buyee right now. I'm pretty sure it's like 70 orders, and I'm still waiting on some. I've been spending a lot because I sold a lot this month. So you sell a lot, you spend a lot. But yeah. What else? Oh, man. I played a bit more of Zelda on, what, Sunday? Was that Sunday? I think it was Sunday. I don't think very many people hopped in for it, but I did beat the Water Temple. That was super freaking easy. Not like that. I think the Water Temple took me like 20 minutes. I don't know if that's the first temple you're supposed to go to. Maybe it is, because it was extremely easy. The boss was annoying but easy. Like, it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't anything crazy. Part of me thinks that I probably should have gone there first because it was super easy. I'm trying to think if there's anything that... I mean, there really isn't, because it's open world. But this was an interesting conversation. I feel like I've had this conversation on stream before, but obviously I've streamed for a long time, so there's a possibility. I'm sure that I have, but probably not with you guys. But what do you guys consider an open world game? Because I feel like everyone has their own definition of an open world game, you know? So like, how... I don't know, because obviously Breath of the Wild is an open world game. You could probably make an argument for I mean, I haven't played Elden Ring, but Elden Ring probably, because you can go like anywhere in the world and do particular bosses first or last or whatever, and there's an end to the game, but you can kind of do it at, like, there isn't a particular way that you have to do it, right? Like, you can do things out of order. So I kind of think in that way, yeah, it almost feels like we need like subgenres within the open world genre. Because some people would consider like the original Pokemon games to be open world. And to me, I don't know if I would consider that open world, because there's a very linear progression to the world. Like, you travel all around a world, but it's not open. Like, you can't just go wherever you want. Like, you have to beat gym, one gym at a time, because you have to get HMs to be able to travel places. Like, although it kind of feels open world, I don't think it really is. But then I think you can kind of make an argument then for, like, is The Witcher 3 actually open world? Because parts of The Witcher 3 are gated behind, like, levels. So you have to be a certain level to go to a particular, like, section of the nation, where then the story, like, continues from there. But there's that level gate to get there. So is that considered open world? It kind of feels like it should be, but then if I'm making the argument that one can't be and the other can't be, I don't know. It's like just gets gray somewhere in the middle there, where, like, I feel like it's open world, but then arguments that I would make toward other games don't make a whole lot of sense if I'm applying them to a game like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But then there's people who would just say that every game with, like, a big world is an open world. And I don't know if I would consider that true either. But yeah, I don't know. Diablo 4 came out. I'm not a big Diablo person. I played a little bit of Diablo 3. Okay, I have a story with Diablo. And this is I played Path of Exile a little bit. And with Path of Exile, I thought it was pretty good, but I feel like it gets repetitive fairly quickly. With Diablo, so I always had this thing with my brother, where my brother and his friends would start playing a video game, and by the time I got around to buying it, they would move on to a new game. So, and it sucked because it was always like, they would be playing this video game, and they'd be like, Ty, buy this game, you should play with us, Ty, buy this game, you should play with us. And then finally I'd be like, all right, I'm going to buy the game. And I'd buy the game. And then, like, a week later, they'd be on to a new game. So that happened with Diablo 3, where they were like, hey, you should totally play this game with us. And I was like, okay, I'll buy Diablo 3, blah, blah, blah. Well, by the time that I got around to buying it, installing it, getting everything ready to play, they had totally moved on to a new game. It's like, well, I guess I won't play Diablo 3 then. But yeah, I never played the original Diablo or Diablo 2 because I wasn't a PC kid back in the day, so I was a Sega and PlayStation console kid. So Total War is like strategy, right? That be considered open world? Because isn't Total War, is that, I don't know how you would consider those games. Yeah, I don't know. The genres are very weird. I don't know what happens with something like that. That's crazy. I am a giant hypocrite. You guys want to know why? I made a video taking a stand. I made a video standing up for my fellow collectors, and now I've completely gone back on that. I made a video. What was it called? Let's see. Where is it? I'm done opening modern Japanese Pokemon cards. I made that video about a month ago. Did pretty well. And to be fair, I didn't open those sets. Because I was talking about how the Iono card was like super expensive, and I wasn't going to open those sets, basically because I didn't think the sets were any good. It just happened to have that one Iono card that was super expensive, so I was like, nah, I'm not going to open those. And then the other day, I FOMO'd into buying a couple boxes of Pokemon 151. For the channel, not for myself, it's for the channel. Definitely not because I'm a Gen 1 simp and I want to open Pokemon 151. It's totally for the channel and for videos. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I spent way too much per box. It was the cheapest that was on eBay, and I got 2 of them, and I was like, I cannot spend any more because that's ridiculous. What's up, Beerski? How's it going? I had an idea though, so I'm thinking about doing this, and you tell me. Okay, I don't think this is scummy. I'm gonna go up front saying that I don't think this is scummy. Okay, because I'm not selling. Okay, I'll just explain the situation. So I kind of thought, okay, if I'm spending this much on a Japanese box, there's a part of me that thinks I should weigh the packs and open the packs that have hits. And then I should grade the other packs. And then hopefully out of that box, I can make my money back. That was kind of like an experiment I wanted to do, was like, okay, I'll weigh the packs, I'll open the hits out of the box, and then I'll take the other packs and I'll get them graded with PSA, and I'll see if you can like break even on an extremely expensive box of Japanese if you go that route. If you spend a bunch of money just to break even, see if that's possible. And since I'm not going to be selling any of the packs like raw, to anybody after I weigh the packs, then I don't really see anything scummy about it. So that's probably what I'll do. But yeah, it's expected that graded packs are duds. I don't know why you would grade a pack that would potentially have a hit. That's my thing. Is like any like heavy pack from back in the day, I would never grade. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like why would you encapsulate a pack that could have a sweet hit? Like to me, and like I would never grade heavy packs, I don't think. But yeah, I do think like the graded pack is a collectible itself. You shouldn't be cracking the pack out of the slab to open it. That's just a bad idea. That's just like an uninformed decision if someone were to do that. So I think the pack itself is supposed to be collectible, which I think is the whole point behind grading packs. That's why the packs that I graded from the vintage packs that I have, I only graded lights because I don't want to encapsulate like a cool card. Because that seems weird. Walrus, I saw you have a which section did you get assigned to, Walrus? Was it Ray's section? I forgot. So you'll be at the Collecticon, or Nick's, that's right. That'll be cool. I'll get to meet you there. Very awesome. I'll be in Dan and Jake's section. Should be fun. As I sent off a few Hidden Fates and tag teams, not entirely sure if they were weighable though. I don't think you can with English. I think that occasionally people will say that you can somehow weigh English packs. I don't think you can. I think at a certain point when you've got code cards and stuff in there, I think it's almost impossible to weigh English packs. I think some sets here and there get like weird problems with that, but I think for the most part, if you're sending off English, I don't think that you can. You might still send off a pack with a hit, as it like in modern, but yeah, I don't think that you can weigh those. The draft. I kind of wish that they had done it more like the draft, like a draft, but I realize I understand why they didn't. They don't want people to feel like there was favoritism or anything towards certain people. I get that, but it would have been kind of fun. It would have been kind of funny. But yeah, I think it's cool how they did it. I'm just glad that I'm getting a table, because in Orlando, I was too late on getting a table, and that was a little frustrating, because I felt like I was quick on it, but man, they sold out fast. And then, yeah, it was cool that everyone kind of came together to make sure that everyone could get a spot, and we even have some spots left over, which is really cool. So I think that was a good idea that they did. Glad you got a table also. Beerski, you're local, right? Are you also in the North Carolina area? Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, New Jersey. Okay, gotcha. I feel like there was somebody else that was local, but or maybe you just said that you were gonna be coming. Hey Wesley, how's it going? You're about an hour from Charlotte. Nice. That's sick. Are you gonna be at the Collecticon? That'd be cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to meet people that I've never met before. I haven't met anybody before. That's not true. I met Dan and Jake and Nick at the last Charlotte Collecticon. But that was like a very brief. Just went up, shook their hands, got autographs on some cards, and then headed out. I didn't want to take up their time, and I could have met Ray because Ray was there, and I think I saw him standing around, but I didn't know who he was. So I like introduced myself to everybody else, but not to Ray because I didn't know who Ray was at the time. But yeah, it's always nice if you can have someone watch your stuff while you're. I don't even know. Ray has his own section, right? So I'm assuming our sections are going to be next to each other. I would assume. I don't know which sections they got. I know they showed like which like area they were hoping to get, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure which sections they actually ended up getting. So it looked like they were kind of toward the front, which would be good. I kind of hope the hotel was so freaking expensive last time, but I kind of hope they go to the same one because I think when I looked at the venue, it was only a couple blocks away. Because they chose a new venue this time around, thank God, because the other venue was like out in the middle of the woods with like nothing around. Let's see. I think it was the Hotel Omni in Charlotte. It's like a Omni resort and a hotel or something like that. Oh yeah, this because it has a pool rooftop bar. It's super sick. So like, there's a pool rooftop bar with like a giant screen TV. It's like a really cool hotel, and this is where it was last time. And I think that they're doing it at the Charlotte Convention Center, which is literally okay. I'll show you guys. Hold on. Desktop. Yeah. So if you look, the Omni Charlotte is here. That's where the hotel was last time. You can see it's got the hotel roof and shit. And then the convention center is here. So it's literally 4 blocks from the hotel to the venue, which would be freaking sick. Because where they had it last time, it was literally like 2 miles. It was like an hour walk. We walked the first day, and then we were like, no, we're just going to drive the second day. Because walking the first time was brutal. Yeah, September will be nice here. September's like right on the edge of it still being freaking stupid hot. But it's definitely... It'll probably be in like the 80s, I would assume. Like maybe high 70s, mid 80s, somewhere around there. But it's not going to be like the, 95 feels like 120 like it is, July to August. Like mid-June to late August, it's disgusting. But September gets to be pretty decent. So fingers crossed for good weather. And I'm planning to open up the heaviest of my Team Rocket Returns packs there. That's going to be like a nice little thing that I plan on doing while I'm there just for fun. So that should be good. But it's going to be a good time. I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out. So I might take Friday off and go Thursday night and stay. Well, I might take Friday off. Go early on Friday morning because it's only like a 2-hour drive from where I'm at, maybe 2.5. I'll get there in the morning, hang out, spend Friday, Saturday night, and then go home Sunday. Go home Sunday after the event, something like that. I'll have to figure it out. And I think I don't know for sure, but I think Pikachu and I possibly are going to be rooming together. Not sure. No, that's not set in stone or anything, but it'll be nice to share a room because they're like $200 some a night, or at least last time it was like $200 some a night. I don't know why Collecticon thinks that everyone that comes to these things are just like rich. Because wasn't the hotel, was it in Orlando where it was like $250 a night or something crazy? Jesus Christ. Come on, guys. We're not all, you know, just money bags. I'm too cheap for all that. But yeah, it should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. It's still a couple months away though, so it's sold out quick, so it might be separate sections as long. Yeah, as long as we're all there, for sure. For sure. It's gonna be weird. Oh, Wesley's bringing the whole family. Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be weird with. Oh, I was in a Discord and somebody, I forget who. It doesn't matter. They mentioned something about not wanting to come to North Carolina because they were afraid or something. And I was like, wait, why? I thought it was so weird at first because obviously I've lived in North Carolina for a while and it's obviously safe. But then I heard that there was like a shootout on a bus in Charlotte. Like somebody on the bus and the bus driver just started shooting each other, like in a bus with like people in the bus. They just had a full on like shootout in the bus. And that just happened like this week or last week or something. I was like, oh, that's probably why they're a little, you know, possibly a little more afraid to head this way. It's like, damn, dude. Apparently they just opened up on each other and on the bus with a whole bunch of people inside. I don't know what the hell is happening right now in the world, but it's crazy. Yeah. Java bringing heat, I guess. I will be bringing those packs to Collecticon, so if anyone is interested in a Fire Red Leaf Green or a Team Rocket Returns, they will be coming with me to Collecticon, and I will be trying to sell some of them. I might just bring the heavy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to sell them at this point. I still question how to optimally sell these things. I live in Raleigh, or close to Raleigh. I just say Raleigh. Close to the Raleigh area. So just a couple hours away. But yeah, I mean, I've never had any issues feeling safe. I would say the last time that I was in Charlotte, and of course, I think this is pretty much the same in all major cities, especially ones with decent, like, inclement weather, is a lot more homeless people than I would have expected. A couple of them got aggressive with us as we were walking around too, but it wasn't anything crazy. I mean, my brother lives in Seattle, and it's nothing like Seattle. Seattle is something else when it comes to like the homeless population, and I know that like California is even more it's even more of an issue down that way. So definitely nothing like that, but yeah, I was surprised. I guess I was I was a little surprised, I guess. But that's a lot of major cities in America, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Has anyone heard? Is there gonna be like a bet or anything fun happening for performance, for section performance? That'll be fun. Dan's just got to bring a bunch of WotC heavy packs, and then we'll just sweep. We'll just sweep. I'll have some Nintendo era heavy packs. I'll have the WotC heavy packs. I'm bringing the Poncho Pikachus. Maybe I'll sell those. Who knows? You know, we got some heat. We got some heat. So I think our section is going to be one to be reckoned with. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Seems like Jake has been grading and looking to sell a bunch of like Take Team Alt Arts and stuff like that are hot right now. So yeah, no. We'll see. I think we have a good chance at performing quite well. But yeah. You know who I'm most afraid of though? And I don't think he's in my section? Tennis Wolf. That guy is crazy. Have you guys seen the pictures that he posts in Discord? The dude's just like, might as well grade some of these. And he has like 10 Rayquaza gold stars in his hand. He's got like all the ponchos, all the, like, that dude is insane. The amount of like heat that he has in his binders and shit. That's one of those guys who, like, he doesn't make any content. He just kind of lives his life, has a shitload of like massive hitters that nobody even thinks about. And then all of a sudden, bam, here he comes. It's like, Jesus. It's crazy though. It's one of those people. It's kind of like Pokemon Steven. It's like one of those people that's like, what am I doing here? You just start to question yourself. Like, what's the point of all this again? You got people like that out there, and I'm sitting here selling, $40 PSA 10s to make $7 on them, and this dude's flexing 12 Rayquaza gold stars in his hand. It's like, what am I doing? Or what am I doing wrong? I just think it's everyone's circumstance, but it is pretty crazy sometimes. Pokemon Steven recently showed off. He's got the Snap Charmander and the Snap Coughing now. Pretty crazy. And I don't know if you guys saw, man, this was super cool. I think this is cool. I don't know why anyone would be frustrated about them being graded. I think these are super freaking cool. I gotta find them, actually. Probably shouldn't show my Instagram on stream. All right. What are the tests? What were they called? Test cards? Test Pokemon test cards? Is that what they were called? What did they call them? They weren't test print, were they? Those test print cards that they did. They were like practice cards for people at the company to play the game with prior to the game coming out, releasing. They were super freaking cool, but I can't seem to find them now for some reason. CGC just... Maybe CGC has something on their website. Ah, here we go. It's literally on the front page, as it should be. These things. These cards are so sick. So basically, I think they're mounted on the card. So it must be some sort of paper. And then they mounted the paper onto cards and then graded them. And basically, I think they did like a whole video on how they confirmed that they were legit. Talked to a bunch of people. And yeah, these are prototype cards from the early days. Someone obtained them directly from a Pokemon playtester. So yeah, they were playtest cards, 3 Kanto starters. Like, who knows? I mean, I don't know if these cards will ever go to auction. Technically, they're not cards. They're like just like test print things. But even as pieces of artwork, like early pieces of artwork, they're sick. So who knows what these would go for? I feel like these, I mean, I don't know. There aren't very many Pokemon cards out there that I would justify spending even just over $1,000 for. And obviously these would be way more expensive than $1,000. But man, these would be super cool to have. Because these are like those, and who knows if more of these will surface as time goes by, because obviously I'm sure there was more than one playtester for the game. And if people kept their playtest copies around, who knows? I mean, if they sell for a ton, it's possible that some more of these could come out. But man, these are just so cool. Are these the original sprites from the video game? I think they are, right? I recognize them. Like, I got super nostalgia for these particular artworks. I feel like they're the sprites just straight from the game, or modeled after the game sprites. But yeah, they're super cool, dude. I saw some people on Instagram were complaining. They were like, oh, I don't think that these cards should have ever surfaced or should be graded or blah, blah, blah. It's like, why? It seems so dumb. Especially, you know, it seemed like CGC did their best to confirm that they were real, to actually like investigate and figure out whether or not they were, you know, legit, worth grading, worth encapsulating. I think this is one of those like pieces of Pokemon history that I think are just super, super cool. So I thought this was a really incredible thing that came out. I feel like more and more these super high value cards are surfacing. Like, I feel like I've seen a bunch of Snap cards recently. These things, you know, prototype Blastoise with the magic back. Like, I feel like there's so many of these cards that are surfacing, and like interesting pieces of history within Pokemon that are surfacing recently that are, you know, really rare. And I think people are just willing to spend the money. I think Pokemon Steven said he spent $70,000 on the Snap Charmander. That's crazy. It's probably worth it, but it's crazy, dude. $70,000 on one card. Oof. I don't even have $70,000, let alone, you know, that to spend on one card. So I don't know what he spent on the coughing, but that dude's just a beast. That dude's just a beast. But yeah, I love when these little pieces of history show up. I think it's pretty cool. Let's see. We'll get into the sales breakdown. This might be a shorter stream than usual. I don't have any video. I feel like there was a video or two that I thought about watching, but I kind of I dropped the ball. I didn't go back to it. One thing that I think is a little interesting, and I don't know, this could be controversial to say or rub some people the wrong way, but I feel like when I first came into this community, I feel like everyone was a lot nicer or happier or something, like more just in it to be a part of it and to be like a part of a community of people who enjoyed each other's company and like wanted each other to succeed and like cheered for each other's success, and we're okay with people doing things differently than them and stuff like that. I feel like that's starting to, and maybe it's just like a few people soiling the bunch for me, but I feel like, of course, as we've seen with, you know, social media and stuff, it tends to be those people that are the loudest when it comes to impacting how you feel about certain things, you know. But I feel like the only thing that I can compare it to is kind of like the crypto stuff that happened, I don't like 5 or 6 years ago. But you know, when crypto blew up and it made a bunch of like real young people millionaires, and then those young people became really rich, and I think to some degree they felt like they had succeeded or they had figured something out, and that something that they did, or that they somehow became an expert. Like they saw success in a short amount of time, they made a bunch of money, and now they think of themselves as an expert. And then a lot of them went on to like create podcasts, and a lot of them created like courses and things like how to get rich on crypto and all that stuff, because they did it and they were successful doing it. So if they're successful doing it, then you can do it. And projected that whole idea of like, they gained a lot of confidence in that area, which led to them thinking that they knew something that other people didn't and that they could teach people. But I think to a certain extent, that can go too far, and that confidence can become arrogance, and like a know-it-all type of attitude can emerge, and it can start to push away people who, I feel like in the Pokemon community, what happens, or what I've seen happen, is, you know, there were some people that were here well before the boom happened and everyone made a bunch of money, right? There was Rusty and Dan and all these people who just collected because they liked the shit, right? They didn't necessarily think it would ever be expensive in the future. And they made a bunch of money. And somehow I feel like Rusty and Dan, these types of people, somehow they made all this money, but they haven't gotten to that point where they've become like these know-it-all gurus that, you know, are gonna farm you for money, and they know everything, and they know exactly how you can make $1 million, and they're gonna tell you how, and here's my, you know, 12-step course that's $50 a month to make you a millionaire off Pokemon cards. Like, they haven't done that. But I feel like there are some people who got in with the boom, like right at the boom, and in the past couple years have made a bunch of money or have been very successful. And those people, for some reason, kind of adopted that mentality where they have, for some reason, become sort of like a know-it-all attitude around what they do is successful for them, and it works for them, and whatever you're doing is wrong. And they're really vocal, and they're willing to tell you that they think you're wrong, no matter if it's right for you or wrong for you or not. So I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know if it's the idea of, if you make a bunch of money and you're young and you make it in a very short amount of time, I don't know if that just emboldens you and makes you feel like you're a genius, like you figured it out. And I have proof that I know exactly what to do to be successful and make a bunch of money in a particular space. And so if you're doing it slightly differently, or you're doing it wrong, or if you're doing it in a way that I perceive as being not the best way of doing it, or not the way that I do it, then somehow you're wrong. And I don't think that that's the case. I think, you know, I've said this a lot, but it's like there's many different ways to make money in the hobby. And if your goal is to make money, there's tons of different ways to do that. And everyone kind of carves out their own path. And I just don't think that attitude is good. I think it just drives people away. And maybe they want to drive people away. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe it's like, I'm going to act this way, I'm going to talk to people this way, I'm going to shit on people in this way, so that, you know, maybe they're trying to get rid of competition or something, because they know that, you know, people in the Pokemon space are maybe less aggressive, less willing to, I don't know, stick up for themselves in that way, or fight back, or I don't know. And it kind of just reeks of insecurity, sort of. It's like, well, if you're confident in the way that you do things, then why does it matter how other people do things? Why does it matter if people choose to do things differently if you're confident in the way you're doing it? And it almost feels like there's a bit of insecurity or something there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Maybe I'm thinking too far into it, but I don't know. I just appreciate like a level-headed approach. Like if people can go through all that and come out the other side and still just be like good individuals that want to help people, I think that that's pretty awesome. If you come out the other side and you're become like a know-it-all dickhead, then it's kind of like, it's unfortunate. I don't know. I like to think that I haven't become a know-it-all dickhead. And I'm not trying to act like I know it all. Because I obviously don't. I definitely don't. There's lots of ways for me to improve. That's why the content I make is not telling anyone what to do. It's just like showing you everything I do, my fails, my wins, my all that stuff. Because I kind of make the content for myself. Like if I made content strictly for you guys, I would just make a PSA return video every week. Because those are the videos that get the best views. But like I enjoy videos like, you know, my top 10 video that I did this week, top 10 cards out of a particular set that's coming out, or you know, the cat video that I did where my cat, you know, figured out which product that I have to go and buy. Like those videos do not get nearly as much traction, click-through rate, any of the statistics that a simple PSA return video would do. But I do those just because I like doing them. So in some ways I do them for you, but in some days, you know, in some ways I also just make videos that I would want to watch. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Rant over. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just say too, like, I've never met anyone in this hobby. I've never spent any time with anyone in this hobby. And sometimes I see people who have never met people, and for some reason, the way that they treat people that they've never met is just like, why? You know? Like, I can get irritated at hearing another question about, oh, when's the next Evolving Skies reprint going to happen? Or, you know, Lost Origin got reprinted. Do you think Evolving Skies is going to be reprinted? Yeah. Is that irritating to hear like 100 times in a row? Yeah. But do you need to shit on the person asking it? Like, probably not. I don't think that helps much. And it just makes people in this space, especially to a newcomer, look absolutely horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've just been seeing some of that recently. It's just like, why? Just odd. It's just odd. But yeah, rant over. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I got into this hobby because like I don't have a lot of personal, you know, friends outside of like personal friends. I've got one like really close personal friend that lives in a different state. I don't get to see him very often. And then I have some family and stuff. So I got into this hobby because there was a bunch of like-minded people who got together and hung out and chat in Discord, and they geek out over cool Pokemon shit. And like, that's just fun. And you don't have to worry about like doing things in a perfect particular way, or else you're gonna get shit on. Like, you can just go into these communities and you can just have fun. You can say like, I got my PSA 10 Pokemon or a Pikachu V card back. It's like not even that expensive, but you can flex it, and people, you know, will type the little fire emoji underneath and they'll say, hey, congrats, that's awesome. I'm glad you like that card, whatever. But yeah, recently I've just seen, I feel like, an influx of people who just shit on newcomers for not doing everything perfectly. It's like, we all came from somewhere. You know, I always talk about my entrance into the hobby. It was terrible. I bought a case of Vivid Voltage thinking that I was going to make stonks. I was going to grade all the cards. I graded them all with CGC. I got no 10s, bunch of 8.5s and 9s, barely made my money back. I've been scammed so much on Buyee. I've made so many terrible decisions in the first like year of that were learning experiences. And if I could go into a community like this with a whole bunch of people like me who've made all these mistakes and asked questions, like, that's pretty freaking sick. That there are knowledge bases of people who can help people. And instead, I've just seen more people who just want to shit on people for their opinions. And it's just like, man, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's a minor few too, guys. It's not like a whole ton of people. It's not a massive amount of like people who are acting this way, but it does seem like it's growing, you know. It's growing. But sad to see, in my opinion. All right, do you guys want to look at numbers? We love numbers. Let's look at numbers. Now that I'm done with my rant, we can look at all the numbers in the world. Okay, which thing am I looking at? This one? All right, here we go. Bunch of numbers. So, this month, monthly sales breakdown. This month, I sold 80 cards, or 70. How many cards did I sell? Hold on. I sold 78 cards, which in comparison to last month I sold 30 cards. So it's like 2.5 times the amount of cards from last month to this month, which is sick. Couple things were the reason why. So I bought a massive collection at the beginning of this month. How's it going, Landon, by the way? Welcome. I bought a massive collection at the beginning of this month. That was the big vintage binder collection. So I sent some cards off to get graded on that, and I've started to keep track of that particular collection and whether we have hit profit or not. We'll look at that a little bit later. So I had that come back. I sent most of the cards off to CGC. Those came back. We'll talk about those in a bit. I also got a massive PSA return back, like an 84 card PSA return in the last maybe a couple weeks ago now. And I sold a bunch of those cards that came back. And a lot of those cards were in the like 29 to 45 range in terms of price. So a lot of character rares, some V-Star Charizards, some Radiant Charizards, stuff like that. A lot of like kind of 30 to 50-ish PSA 10s. That was the bulk of the quantity of cards that I sold this month, were those kind of lower end PSA 10s. And then I actually started sending off a couple of auctions. So I had some modern cards, some modern CGC, a few 10s, some 9.5s. I started sending some stuff off to auction this month just to move some stuff to get it out of the way. And yeah, so that's really boosted the amount of sales. Obviously, as you can tell as we go through, you're going to see that the higher profit margin stuff are on those mid-era to like the GX full art tag teams, stuff like that. The mid-era to the tag teams are going to be the higher profit margins for the most part. And then the modern, like the ultra modern, those lower cost PSA 10s are going to be the lower profit margins. Most of the cards still sold by it now. Most of the cards I sell are sold via best offer. So with best offers, I always put the auto decline. I love the auto decline. It does end up with a lot of people messaging me like, hey, for some reason I got auto decline, and then I look at their offer and it's like 50% of list, and it's like, well, yeah, no shit. But yeah, I do put an auto decline on all of my listings as well to make sure that I'm not being bugged constantly by people. But let's see. So we'll go through. We did have a few losses. Let's go through those first, and then we'll move on to the big wins, and then we'll just go through the rest of them. So PSA 9, Celebi and Venusaur. This is the rainbow rare. This just unfortunately got a PSA 9. And unfortunately, the 9s are, all of these cards are Japanese too, by the way, or 99% of them are Japanese. So if you're curious, I should probably put JP next to the ones that are Japanese, but pretty much all of them are Japanese. The Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon. I'll actually talk about those two, at least from a Japanese perspective, not from the English perspective, but I will talk about them from a Japanese perspective. Here in a second, because I have seen a difference in those cards in particular, as well as some other stuff that I have been buying over the last couple months, but maybe changing my course on them going forward. We'll have to see. But we have, let's see, I was going to take a look at losses. So we have PSA 9, Celebi, Venusaur, Rainbow. I was in at about 15 bucks. It was probably a little bit high for that card. It sold for 30 because unfortunately it got a 9, and we lost about 658 on that card. That's basically, it just got a 9. I was in it for probably a little too much, and it unfortunately got the PSA 9, so I had to drop it. It might be more than 30 bucks now. It's probably still somewhere around 30 bucks because it is Venusaur. It's a little bit less, sought after than like Blastoise or Charizard, for instance. But this one sold for 30 bucks pretty early on in the month and lost me about 650 on that one. Luckily, my losses are not super big. This one here, PSA 9 Umbreon. So this was the promo cards that I sent in that ended up getting 9s. This one sold for $22 in a 9. I believe this card could have been a PSA 10, but unfortunately it was damaged by PSA. So that was a part of the lot that I got back that were damaged by PSA. The cards in the top right corner, I think on the back, had that wear that wasn't there before. And this was a part of that lot, so it hit the 9 unfortunately, and I lost $1.40 on it. I was only $3 in per card, so that wasn't that bad. Down here we had a 9 that I just got a 9. I probably paid up a little bit much for it. It was $20, and then I sold it for $42.74 looks like, and I lost about 50 cents at the end of the day. And those are all the losses, so we did pretty decent. You can see that a lot of these, there are some of these profit margins that are like $5, $4, $3, $3. A lot of those are going to be the EV character rares, the Jolteon character rares, stuff like that, because those cards sell for about $30, maybe a little bit less in a PSA 10 right now. But at the time, I was getting them for about $2 a piece, so I got a few lots for about $2.22 a piece, which is pretty decent. So I still made about $4 to $6 on each of those. Now let's go to the big wins. So the big wins, I sold a PSA 10 Espeon for $300. I believe this is the it's been a little while since I sold. Okay, so it is this one. I'll show you guys which card it is. Hey, DNA. What's up, man? DNA's listing. That is this card. Mine was a PSA 10, so it sold for about $300, but it is this Magma vs. Aqua Espeon Holo in a 10. Really nice looking card. I really like this card a lot. I was lucky enough to pull the 10 on that, so we sold that early on in the month for $185 profit because I only paid $28.75 for it out the get-go. So that was pretty awesome. Another big one was the Diamond Pearl Charizard. So I think this is Shining Darkness Charizard. It is... Just want to make sure you guys are seeing these cards. This Charizard. So this Charizard here scored the PSA 10 and made a bunch on this one. So $191 profit. And it got the PSA 10. I bought it for about $35 and sold it for $279 for... How does that make sense? The fees are a lot lower here. That doesn't seem right for the fees. I think there's a problem with my... Why are the fees so much higher on this card that sold just a little bit higher, but they're so much higher? I'm gonna have to look at that one. That one seems weird for some reason. Maybe it sold without a promotion on it? Maybe it sold without a promotion on it. Maybe I got lucky on that. It could have just sold without a promotion. That's possible. So, those promoted listings sometimes can make your numbers look a little weird. Because most of the listings that I have, I do promote. Right now, there was a time during this month that I had them all promoted for 5%. But I think newly listed going forward, I think I'll probably list them at like 2.5%, because I think the majority of people are probably going to list at 2 because that's the minimum. So if you list at 2.5, you're probably knocking off a lot of the competition, because a lot of the competition are just going to slap 2 on there and be done with it. That's what I used to do before I raised it a little bit. So that's probably what I'll try going forward and see how well that works in comparison. A couple other really nice cards. So PSA 10 Pikachu. This one was super interesting. This just came in a lot. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll grade it because it looks like 10s are going for quite a bit. And it got a 10. So I was super happy about that, obviously. And it ended up selling for $110 and ended up actually being a really solid play. That is this Pikachu here. I think I bought a Raichu, a Pichu, and a Pikachu all in like one lot. And the Pikachu just came in and I was like, oh, whatever, it's just a Pikachu, I'll just set it aside. And then I looked up how much a 10 was and I was like, damn, I need to grade this. So I graded it, it got the 10, sold it for 110 bucks, made about 72 off it. And then for Alligator's a good boy. And I love this card. This card's so good. I think I have another one of these. This for Alligator is great artwork. This was a PSA 10 of this particular for Alligator here. And I spent $12 on it. It got a 10, I believe. Sold it for $130. $76 profit at the end of the day. Let's move on down. I won't show all the cards, I guess. I'll show the first ones, but this was an Ampharos. Got for about 10 bucks, sold for 115, profited 68 bucks. It's pretty nice. I basically mark anything over 50 bucks here with this lighter green, and then anything over 100 with the darker green, just to kind of keep track of things. Arceus Dialga Palkia Rainbow Rare, PSA 10. This sold really fast, actually. It sold like immediately after I posted it for 115 bucks. Profited 67-ish dollars. And then a nice Venusaur. This one's a Diamond Pearl Venusaur, I think. Somewhere around there. Platinum, maybe. 15 bucks. Got a 10. Sold for 105. $60 profit. And we had a nice Celebi and a Blaziken. These two did really well. 80 and 60. And then a couple more big hitters. So PSA 10 Dragonite. This is the Mitsuhiro Rita Diamond Pearl, Cry from the Mysterious Dragonite. Really, really nice card. I have like 3 10s of those right now on eBay. And this one sold for around 210, which net me a 138 profit. And let's see, this is a Rayquaza from Diamond Pearl. It's a really derpy looking Rayquaza, but it still sells pretty well. Rayquaza is really popular. Rayquaza always sells decently for me. So 115 profit on that one. And then we have the Shaman full art. This is from X and Y, I think. Pretty sure. An X and Y full art. Sold for 110 profit. And we had, obviously, Leafeon GX. Leafeon GX. Well, that was a full art. Leafeon GX full art. I got for $11. Sold it for $61. For a $61 profit. So we did pretty well on some other stuff, and a lot of the other stuff in between is going to be essentially like ultra modern PSA 10s in like the $40 to $50 range, typically netting around $5 to $10 in profit. Some doing a little better than others. So the overall numbers for the month, again, I think I said it was like 78 cards, so I'll adjust that. It was 78 cards for a total profit of $2,158 this month, which was awesome. It is obviously way up from April. April, I think the total $1,100 in the flipping cards. So doubled my profit margin and from last month to this month, which is great. Very happy about that. The sales in total were nearly $5,000, which is sick. And obviously our entry point on a lot of these cards are great. I mean, they're super low. It's good stuff. Really solid month. Now, Let's talk about the auctions that I did quick. So I did some auctions. Most of them actually did fairly decently. I sent some cards into CGC, and some of them actually got 10s, which was nice. And I sent those to auction. So this is a Gyarados VMAX Rainbow Rare from, I think it's from, not from EV Heroes, but I think it's the other one. Or maybe it is EV Heroes. I don't remember. But it's the Sword and Shield Gyarados VMAX Rainbow. I got a lot of like 20 of these for like $6 a piece. It was kind of ridiculous, but I really couldn't pass it up. Maybe it was like 18. I forget how many were actually in the lot. But sold at auction for $42, which gave me a $13 profit. And then the same card, this was wild. So the same card later in the month sold for $83 at auction, giving me a $48 profit. CGC 10 Gyarados VMAX Rainbow. I have no idea why it sold for twice as much later in the month. I feel like it was just an auction fluke thing. I have no idea why. It was paid for and everything. I shipped it out. No clue. I don't know if it was just a bidding war. It bid all the way up, all the way to the moon. That is not at all where I would put that card in terms of like its worth. Not based on recent comps, but I guess I just created a new comp. Let's see. Other auctions we did. I did a CGC 10 Radiant Blastoise and another CGC 10 VMAX Rainbow Gyarados. So the CGC 10 VMAX Rainbow, the other one that I did, sold at 36, which was less than my first auction and net me less profit. And then the Radiant Blastoise did fairly well at $31. I just bought a lot of these, I think 20 of them, 18 of them, I think for like $2.50 a piece. These Radiant Blastoise from Pokemon Go. Pretty happy with that purchase for $2.50 for a shiny Blastoise. Seemed kind of stupid. But yeah, net a profit of $6.57 on that auction. So the auctions actually did decently. There were a couple ones that weren't really a part of like this flipping thing that slightly underperformed. I had a Arcanine EX from the newest set, the Terra EX. It was a perfect 10 that sold for $28, which I felt like was a little low for a perfect 10, but sometimes that happens. What's up, Bubble Blower? Welcome. Sometimes that happens. That's the whole thing about auctions, is they could go really well, they could go really poorly. It really just, you know, it's just up to what happens with them. My auctions all started on Sunday and ended on Sunday night around like 9 o'clock Eastern, 9-10 Eastern, around that time period. So I'd always heard that Sunday was like the best day to do it, so I tried to do it on Sunday. So yeah, 2,158 in profits this month. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. If we can double this number, we'll be like really nice. But I'm really happy with this. We definitely don't have to double it. We could just get this each month, and I would be very happy with how this is happening right now. And $2,158 profit. That's only on 78 cards. Like, I don't really feel like that's, you know, that's shipping out what, 2.5 cards a day, somewhere around there. So that's not really that bad. And you know, made quite a bit of money. So that's pretty awesome. Now, let's talk about the booth at the comic store. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Let's talk about the booth at the comic store. So the comic store did decent. It underperformed a little bit, I think, compared to, actually, we're pretty close. So 739, 727. We've stayed pretty much in the 725 to 850 range on most of the months. So that's been performing as expected. If I see you at the Comic-Con in the fall, I'm gonna say hi. That sounds good to me, man. I hope to see you there. It's gonna be weird to meet people who know me from YouTube and like have never met me before. That's gonna be odd. But yeah, it'll be awesome. Definitely come up and say hi. I'll have a corner booth. So if you're looking for my booth, it'll be on one of the corners. 2 tables. Should be a good time. All right. Let's talk about this. We've got Modern English Singles. So basically I have a case there that has So, or wait, no, this is modern. So modern English singles. I have a binder that's full of modern English. And obviously with this month, a lot of the modern English cards are going to be from the newer set that came out last month-ish. Like halfway through last month, I think the last set came out, I think. So a lot of those cards are what sold into this month. So about $200 in modern English singles. And then vintage, I have a case up there and a cards in a case. So I have a binder, I should say, with a bunch of vintage English, and I also have some cards that are in a case. So those cards were around the same amount, actually. So about $180 in vintage English singles. Japanese singles actually did really well this month. What did it do? Actually, it was pretty decent last month too. People be buying the Japanese. I'm pretty happy about that. So $143 in Japanese singles sold. Modern bulk, I love seeing this number. I want that number to continue to go up. But last month we did $111 in modern bulk. This was $107. So modern bulk is literally, it is what it sounds like. I just take all the bulk from the booster boxes. I put it in two different boxes. One has reverse hollows and hollows for 2 for $1. One has just bulk, commons through rares for 4 for $1. And those sell about $110 each month. Basically cover a booster box of new product. So that's pretty awesome. Accessories, and I've been selling this bulk for nearly 2 months. So if you think about it, I've made $200 some back in the 12 booster boxes that I bought, which is probably two of those booster boxes, which is pretty sick. That's pretty awesome just from modern bulk. Accessories. So accessories are the sleeved, the ETB sleeves. So I have packets of ETB sleeves up there that I sell for $4 a piece. I actually bought some from somebody. Quick shout out. Platinum J. Thank you very much. I bought about 50 more, or no, 30? 27? Something like that. A really good variety of these ETB packs of sleeves. I bought them from Platinum J on Discord. Really nice guy. Sent me a bunch of them. So I just restocked my booth with those. And I sold a few graded cards. I think I sold 2 or 3 graded cards, kind of lower cost graded cards that I put in the booth. I think there were like CGC 9s and 9.5s that I put in the booth. And those sold quite well as well. So yeah, the booth once again did decently. We profited a little less off the booth this month because I have the Comic-Con booth charge. So for 2 tables, $60 a piece, $120 for a corner booth. That's what I'm going to be doing. And obviously the rent and the 10% consignment fees. So this month, the fee structure was a little heavy on the 727, but we still profited a good $434 on top of paying off my Comic-Con booth, which is going to make me a ton, probably a ton of money, and the other fees that I typically pay to them. So yeah, the comic booth continues to do decently. So this month the new set comes out, which is Paldea Evolved. I only bought 1 case of Paldea Evolved because I think it's kind of be an underperforming set. I'm not sure if there's really that much hype around it, apart from the Iono because it's expensive, but otherwise, I'm not sure there's really that many people excited about it. It feels like it's going to be kind of similar to the first set. How's it going? Someone said, welcome. So I only bought 1 case of that, and I'm going to open 4 boxes, and I'm going to have 2 boxes to put to sell packs from in the case at the comic shop. So we will have packs for the first time, the first month ever. That will be cool, and pretty excited about that. So we'll try out packs there and see how those sell. And yeah, that'll be awesome. If I see you, I'll most likely be in a Vigilante. Wait, were you in that last year? Did you do Vigilante Deku last year? No? Oh, there was a really good Vigilante Deku last year. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be cool. Definitely come up and say hi for sure. Oh, you saw my booth? Nice. That's awesome. All right, let's talk about collections. Obviously, I bought 2 massive collections this year. We had that one $10,000 collection that I'm still working on. Oh yeah, you bought the Giratina Garchomp. Yeah, I don't remember you specifically, but I did remember selling that card. So yeah, it'll be nice to put a face to the name now. Now that I've met some of you guys on YouTube, that'd be cool. Let's see. So I did have a $10,000 collection that I bought earlier in the year, a couple months ago now. Still working on that. I had 4 cards sell from that collection. I haven't, or actually I have 2 cards that sold from that collection, and I have some packs that I sold. Thankfully, finally sold from some packs. The Dark Dragonite Reverse. This card was super sick. Sold it for, this was the Legendary Collection Reverse. Sold it recently for $340, which is awesome. And I've been tracking what I'm selling these cards at in CGC and what the most recent solds are in PSA. So trying to give you guys that information too. Like, you know, sometimes maybe it might be worth it because of the quick turnaround times to send certain cards to CGC. So some of these cards that I'm sending to CGC, I'm trying to track the PSA equivalent sale prices. So for this particular card, there was one sale for $400, was probably the most recent sale, and then there were 2 sales prior to that for $325 and $310. So $340 sale, pretty decent. Kind of in the middle of those numbers. So I was pretty happy with that sale price. And I finally sold some packs. So I graded the Fire Red Leaf Green packs, a set of them with PSA. I got them back this month. And I tried to sell them as a set first. And a whole lot of people weren't too interested in them as a set. And so I split them up into individual packs. And then one person ended up buying the Pikachu art pack. And one other person ended up buying the other 3. So that was super cool. I made a little bit more money than I would have if I had sold them as a set, as they were listed prior. So I made a little bit more by splitting them up, and it ended up going pretty well. Unfortunately, I think I definitely ate quite a bit of the grading costs because these got 8s, but they sold a little bit higher than what like a raw Fire Red Leaf Green pack would sell for. So I think I sold them for like, so this is 250 divided by 3, or sorry, 850. Let's do 850 divided by 3. $283 per. That's actually really good. Is that really how? That's actually really good. Sick. That seems high. Did I actually sell it for 850? I think I did. So yeah, 283 per. Maybe I didn't lose that much money on the grading then, because they go for around 225 to 250 raw. So add 30. Like I basically made my money back, I feel like, which is pretty good. I mean, I wish they would have gotten better grades because I would have gotten more of a you know, thing with them, but they did fine. They did fine. So let's see. I am 844 on the packs, which is not terrible. Not terrible. Let's talk about the $4,500 collection. So I bought a $4,500 collection earlier this month, I think, or maybe it was the end of last month. And I've already made quite a bit of it back. So I sent them all off to CGC. I got a bunch of these cards back from CGC and a bunch of different grades. Some of them graded a lot higher than I thought they would. And a lot of these cards have already sold. So profit-wise, we've already made back around $1,850, $1,870, and we're still working on about $2,630 to go. But we have a lot of cards at PSA, and we have quite a few cards still from the CGC submission that we need to sell. So I'm very confident about this particular collection. I do think I'll make probably a few $1,000s on it, which is pretty sick. I'm pretty happy with it. And I got to grade a whole bunch of really cool cards, and I'm able to post them on Instagram. But let's go through, and I'll show you guys the recent PSA comps versus the CGC sales, because I think that it's relevant. I truly believe that people in this hobby do not value their time as much as they should. And on some of these cards absolutely would not have graded this high at PSA. There's absolutely no clue. There's no conceivable world where I send these cards to PSA and they grade this high. There's no way. So I feel like, first of all, I sent them to the right place because they got higher grades than I think they would have gotten at PSA. That's just a hunch. Obviously, anything could happen. But I do honestly think that these cards got higher grades at CGC than they probably would have at PSA. I honestly believe that. So let's go through here. So Dark Charizard, Japanese, sold for $145. Recent sold PSA 9, $156, $165, $136. So maybe on the slightly lower end of comps, but not too far off. Next, we have the CD Promo Charizard. Mine sold for $242. Recent sales in PSA. This one was probably the most off in terms of sale price. This PSA 9s are around $300, $305, $269. Mine sold for $242. So that was definitely a bit lower than its PSA counterparts. The CGC 9.5 Quick Starter Zapdos. So obviously PSA doesn't have a 9.5, and I don't really think comparing CGC 9.5s to PSA 10s really makes sense. So what I'm really hoping for is that the 9.5 sits somewhere in between the PSA 9 and the PSA 10. I think that just kind of makes sense. My Quick Starter Zapdos sold for $289, and the recent comps in a 9 are $188, $215, and $209. So it's selling for $289 sits in between that 9 and 10 range, which I think makes sense for a 9.5. So all of the 9.5s here, you're going to see the same thing, and 8.5s, you're going to see the same thing. I compared them to its lower counterpart, but we're looking to see if it sits between that 9 and 10 range. So we have the CGC 9.5 Fossil Dragonite in Japanese. Mine sold for $150. Recent PSA 9s are $79, $88, and $100. So definitely sitting between that 9 and 10 range. We have the Jungle Snorlax 9.5, $160, PSA 9, $75, $86, $70. So again, sitting between that range. Now we have a couple 8.5s. These are those cool promo cards from the, were they from Generations? They were from some set. They were super freaking cool. They had really cool artworks. I think they both sold to the same person, 75 a piece. PSA 8s were 51, 59, 61, and 47, 89, and 72. So the Venusaur sold maybe a little higher in some cases, but the Blastoise seemed to sit pretty nicely between an 8 and a 9. CGC 9, Umbreon, 120-ish. This one underperformed. So PSA 9, 140, 175, 177. Definitely underperformed in comparison to a PSA 9. Now we have Uyama's Pikachu. This sold for a lot, $332.49. This was a 9.5. So the PSA 9 was $295, $255, and $295. So about 40 higher than the highest recent comp, which sits between 9 and 10. 9.5 Jungle Vaporeon sold for $175. Recent 9s sold for $68, $70, and $70. So this definitely did very well, $100 over the highest recent comp in the 0.5 higher grade. Definitely did very well. These are bins. These are buy it nows, Maki. How's it going, by the way? Welcome. Masaki Alakazam, $290 in a CGC 8. This one underperformed a little bit. So $325, $300, and $261 in a PSA 8. So it was around the same amount, but obviously the most recent PSA equivalent was $325. So it was a bit higher than what I got for $290. Quick Starter Articuno I sold recently, $138. The most recent PSA 8 comp I could find was $124. So it was, in comparison, it was pretty close. And then the 9.5 Blaine's Charizard sold for $287.50. And the most recent comps in a PSA 9 were $192, $165, and $165. So obviously sitting very nicely in between the 9 and the 10 from PSA. So I would say, and a lot of these cards are pretty niche in terms of old cards, high grades. You know, they could just perform well because of the cards that they are. I wouldn't say that this is comparable to like Ultra Modern. I don't really think like a 9.5 Ultra Modern card is probably going to sit pretty close to a PSA 9, if not maybe even a little lower possibly than a PSA 9. So I don't think that this necessarily applies to Ultra Modern, but it's been doing quite well for me on these old school WotC Japanese cards that I think CGC is going to grade probably a little bit more favorably than PSA in some cases. So that's why I sent them there, and they seem to be performing quite well. And it's literally this submission went out 4 days at CGC, came back, and I was already selling cards. So this is like 2 weeks worth of like work, and I sold all these cards in that amount of time span of getting the cards, sending the cards, getting them back, selling them. 2 to 3 weeks worth of work was that time frame. So didn't have to wait 2 months to start making some money, and a lot of the money that I made was very comparable to their PSA counterparts. So yeah, so that's really, I mean, that's basically the end of it. So we're about 1870 out of the 4,500. Got a lot to go, a lot more cards to sell. The packs are still holding up this number a lot, so I still have quite a few cards that need to sell from this collection, but it's really the packs that are going to be the bulk of the money that I make off this collection. I just have to figure out the best way to sell those. I know that Dan is going to be watching this. Hi, Dan. Yeah. Dan has reached out to me, or we kind of talked about him possibly buying all the packs off of me for a number, but I'm just not there yet on... I don't think I want to dump them all at once just yet. So I got to figure out how I want to go about doing it. I think I will probably send another light pack set of Fire Red Leaf Green into PSA. I think I will do that, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Did you see Dan's pack return? Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles? I didn't see his pack return. Did he have one recently? There's a part of me that really wants CGC to start doing packs because I would absolutely send packs to CGC if they started doing them. But I don't know if that's on the horizon, if they're even thinking about it. It doesn't make sense right now. But yeah, this month was insane in terms of sales, like really insane. Highest grade was a 9. He received one of them on his base set packs. Rest were all 8s and 7s. Yeah, all of mine were 8s. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there. Like if they are figuring out more their scale or whatever, or if I have no clue, but I have no idea. Let me see, summary wise. Let's see the sales we have here. So my sales numbers are going to be higher because there's some stuff that I've sold that I don't put in here because they're like personal items or whatever. They're not items specifically to flip, or they're not items specifically from collections. So in some ways I'm like picking and choosing numbers, but I can tell you that I'm not losing on these other cards. They're just stuff that kind of sits around and isn't directly related to anything. So performance wise, sales last 31 days. So my sales in the last 31 days, my net sales after fees was just over $8,000. It's pretty awesome. So yeah. And honestly, that's mostly this. So we have what? This was nearly 5,000 in sales. This was 1,600 in sales, and then this was 2,500 in sales. So that's basically that. It basically does cover everything, actually, now that I think about it, because that's like $4,000. Then that's like, so there's a couple thousand probably that's not related to this stuff, but most of it came from this. So yeah, big month. Hopefully next month will be similar. I don't have any like massive PSA return. Well, I have one PSA return that'll probably come back this month. That should hopefully help with some sales. We've already started on the June. I did sell some cards today, so we've already started on the June sheet. I hope that I don't know. I hope that these are good for you guys. I hope you guys are I hope it's at least interesting to see, if not, learning something from. I definitely learned from doing it. I love tracking the numbers. Oh, for those of you that are still here, some of the little secret things that I've been noticing, if you guys haven't been noticing them. So some cards that I like to pick up every now and again are the character rares for the evolutions. So from VMAX Climax, the Eevee, the Flareon, the Vaporeon, and the Jolteon. And up until recently, I've been able to get them for between $2 and $3 a piece. But now I feel like they've doubled. The raw cards of those cards in particular, I feel like they're like $5 or $6 a piece now. Depending. You might be able to get them like $4.50. But the ones that I sold this month, I got raw for $2.22, and that was only like a month or two ago. I feel like even in Japanese, which is what I've been buying, that sub 3 price is going to be pretty difficult to come by now. I feel like now they're between 4 and 5, if not above 5 on a lot of that. So, unfortunately, that's the case. I'm not buying them as much. I'm not sure how much I will buy going forward, because the PSA 10s are not really increasing. The raw cards are increasing, but the PSA 10s are still like in the 30 range. So, it's just kind of eroding that profit margin a little bit with those cards going up to like the $5 to $6 range. So I don't know how many more of those I'll pick up. I still have a bunch. I still have probably like 15 of each that I got at like the $2 range. So thankfully I have a pretty decent, it's not like a massive backlog of them, but I have some that I still got for fairly cheap. But yeah, we'll see on those. I don't know why they were anyway. Yes, there's a lot of them, but the arts are nice. The PSA 10s are way too cheap. I don't know if the PSA 10s are too cheap. It wouldn't surprise me if they ended up being like $40 or $50 PSA 10s, because the art is really nice and they're evolutions. They're super popular Pokemon. Like, it makes sense to me. And obviously VMAX Climax eventually will no longer be, but VMAX Climax was printed at least 3 times, I think. So I think there is like a metric shit ton of them out there. And I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of them graded and a ton of them graded PSA 10. So it wouldn't surprise me if they get to like a $40, $50 PSA 10, but it would surprise me if they were like $100 PSA 10 or something in like the next year or two. That would surprise me a lot. I'm definitely not approaching that play thinking that they're going to be like $100 PSA 10 like ever. But I think like $40, $50 PSA 10 makes somewhat of sense at some point. But yeah, it might take a long time, if ever, to get anywhere near, the $100 range on those. Some other cards that I've been continuing to pick up, the Japanese Radiant Charizard, still picking those up for like $4 a piece, which I think is just, I say it, and every time I bring it up, I say, like, it seems crazy. I know that they printed a shitload of those, but for $4, like, it's literally a shiny black Charizard. Like, yeah, I buy them a lot. I bought another lot of them, a lot of 20 of them today for like $4 a piece. I still buy them because I think it's kind of crazy that they're so cheap. And there's some other stuff that I've been buying, and you'll see in a different live stream, but I don't want to talk about it right now. just being honest. There's some other stuff that I've been buying, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But I will obviously show them in a future like Japan mail day videos and stuff like that. You'll be seeing them. I'm just not sure how many more I want to buy. I don't want to spill that yet. But yeah. They might have the letters G and X in there. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't. So one thing I'll say, and I'm not telling you guys to do anything, I'm just going to tell you guys how I'm thinking right now. Before, I was buying the full art Tag Team GXs, and as most people who are paying attention understand that, like, The tag team sets are exploding right now. Absolutely exploding right now. And it's mostly the alternate arts with probably some of the rainbow rares, but it's mostly the alternate arts from the tag team sets. I'm not buying any of those. I wasn't buying any of those before they blew up because I thought they were too expensive. Definitely not buying any of those now that they blew up because I think they're too expensive. So yeah, those particular cards, I'm not buying any of those for resale because I just think like the amount that they've exploded, everybody's talking about them right now. I'm not interested. I wasn't interested before. I'm not interested now. Those particular GX cards, not a huge fan of. Even some of the full arts now, the full arts have gone up a little in price. The rainbows have gone up a little in price. So I've set my eyes a little cheaper on the GX scale because I'm seeing some like $2 cards selling for $50 PSA 10s. Popular Pokemon, that type of stuff. So anytime I see like a $2 card selling for, you know, a $50 PSA 10, I like those odds. Those are the types of plays that I like. Get in real cheap, you know, sell in like the sweet spot range of buyers and, you know, hope to make, you know, $10 to $20 profit off of each card. So yeah. It's weird that I enjoy listening to a fork scraping on a plate. Yes, it is. That is very weird. That is very weird. Oh, can I talk about a pet peeve here for a second? What's it called again? I'm going to talk about a pet peeve here for a second. Does anyone else hate hearing people eat? Like people that chew with their mouth open really loudly? Does anyone else, is that just like grating on a chalkboard for people? Does it make you like unnecessarily angry when you have to sit next to someone who's chewing like a cow chewing cud in their mouth? It's actually a thing. So the hate of mouth noises. That's what it is. I looked it up earlier. It's called misophonia. Apparently, it 20% of people are affected by misophonia. And it's basically like the feeling of anger, disgust, and a desire to flee when they hear certain sounds. Chewing and similar noises from the mouth are most often associated with the condition. So I definitely have this. I cannot stand, like, it's one of the reasons why I don't go to movie theaters, because people are so loud with like the popcorn and shit when they're eating that it distracts me from the movie. Like, even in a loud theater where you think you wouldn't hear other people, I can pick out that one person who's eating really loudly and it'll bother me the entire movie. So it's one of the reasons why I don't go to movie theaters anymore. But yeah, this misophonia thing. So 20% of people, you know what drives me crazy though? I watch Twitch streamers. Like, I'll sit and watch Twitch streamers, and some of these Twitch streamers, they're super successful. They have 10, 20,000 viewers, whatever, and they're entertaining. They stream for literally 4 hours a day, and for some reason, these lazy, I was gonna say something mean, but I'll just say these lazy people, they stream for 4 hours a day, and they have to eat during that time. Why do you have to eat on stream when you only stream 4 hours a day? And then 90% of these people are eating with their freaking mouths open. And they don't mute their mics or they don't have any noise gates or anything. It's like you're driving off 20% of your viewer base. Crazy to me. But yeah, that's my rant, I guess, for the day. As opposed to my other rant. It's another rant. Yeah. And then there's one dickhead. Okay, hold on. There's one dickhead. Here we go. Eating mouth open food tastes better. Okay, there's one dickhead that did a study. Now, I don't necessarily hate people. It's not necessarily something that I say. I don't necessarily hate people. But whoever did this study and then came out with this idea that eating with your mouth open makes your food taste better. Betsy Reed. Or wait, no, hold on. That's the editor of the article. I don't know who actually did it. But that guy just needs to stop. That person just needs to stop talking. Someone needs to stop them from talking more. Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Pole Father? How's it going? Yeah, ASMR is 100% a no for me. Can we be real? Can we be real? Okay. There's some people who are like, oh yeah, audio, whatever. I have to listen to ASMR to fall asleep, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. Okay. No, you don't. You just want a sexy woman whispering in your ear so that you can do something before you go to bed at night. Okay. That's what ASMR is to you. It's not some auditory thing that helps you fall asleep. It's some sexy girl talking and whispering in your ear. Okay. It's not anything more than that. It's some sort of sexual gratification nonsense. It's not any sort of scientific, something to do with your hearing. All right. Okay. I said it. ASMR is a scam. Yeah. We agree on a lot. Sometimes I think I'm unreasonable, and I think that I just grew up around people that eat loudly. Like my brother eats really loudly. Like really loudly. He's like the loudest eater I've ever experienced in my life. And that's probably where this came from. It's probably conditioned in me, growing up with my brother eating next to me for 18 years. Like it probably just was conditioned. And yeah, that's why I dislike it now or something like that. I used to hate eating in the lunchroom because of that. Yeah, I would just wait to eat. Yeah, I don't know. If she whispers anything other than, did you do the dishes? Or you didn't take out the garbage, I mean. Oh, man. Yeah. School doesn't have a cafeteria? Really? Interesting. Yeah, we always had a cafeteria. Or ours wasn't necessarily strictly a cafeteria. Ours was like, they basically turned a big, room in the school that was like a common area into the lunchroom during lunch. And then they cleaned up the tables and then it was just like a common area. It wasn't really a cafeteria. You like walk through it to go to classes and stuff. But then when it was lunch, like it turned into lunchtime. You eat in the classrooms. Interesting. I wonder if that's like you think that's like a safety measure change or something like that? You eat in the classrooms. But yeah, we never had any issues with lunchroom. Occasionally there would be a fight in the lunchroom, but it, I didn't get into any fights when I've never been in a fight, I would say. I've been into like pushing matches, like wrestling, but not like aggressively. It was just like, I was never in like an actual fist fight with anybody. I was pretty like, I feel like I got along with everybody in school for the most part. But yeah, school was good. I just kind of hovered. Like in middle school to like early high school, I was kind of the sports guy. I was kind of like a jock, but I still had friends that were nerdy. Like I was kind of a jock nerd. Like I played sports, but I also played video games, loved Pokemon, stuff like that. And then into high school, I dropped a lot of my sports, and then I just kind of played video games and hung out with people and was pretty like, I don't know, just floated. Was pretty cool with everybody. And then, oh, you want to hear something messed up? Okay, this is something that's messed up. And I don't hold any like ill will or anything toward anybody. But, so I had a girlfriend in high school, and we broke up like junior year, I think, or the summer before junior year, something like that. She broke up with me, and then, so junior year you have prom, which is like prom is like the big dance get together thing of school, high school, basically. And there's prom king and queen, right? And so this is how I remember it. And it, it could be fuzzy. But basically, my entire grade was called down to a cafeteria to vote on who was going to be prom king and queen. And so everybody voted, and then everyone left. And my ex-girlfriend got prom queen. And so then one day, they had everyone go back to the same area to vote again for who would be prom king. And then somebody told me at one point that I was voted for prom king, but I had told everyone that I wasn't going to go. So I told everyone prior to it that I wasn't going to go. I wasn't going to be there. I went and visited my brother for college because I just wasn't interested. And so they had to re-vote, but they were going to vote for me and my ex-girlfriend. And we did not like each other. It was not good. It was not an amicable, it was not a good thing. That would have been quite embarrassing. But thankfully, I wasn't going to be there, so they re-voted. And some other guy got it, and that was good. So, but yeah, that would have been rough. We did that to someone in our high school. Oh god, it wouldn't have been that bad because they only make you dance like once together or whatever, and then you can go back to your respective dates. It wouldn't have been that bad, but yeah, it was. When I heard about it, because I don't even know if I went down to vote because I knew I wasn't gonna be there. I was like, well, I'm not going to be there, so why vote for it or whatever? And then someone came up to me and was like, yeah, you got voted for it, but they're re-voting because we know you're not going to be there. I was like, oh my God, thank God. Thank God I wasn't going to be there. That was nasty. That would have been bad. But, yeah, brutal. I'm most likely going to be single for life. Bro, you have no idea. Don't say that yet. You're probably still young enough to... I would say aren't we all, but it's not. More money for Pokemon. Exactly. 100%. Make sure she understands the cards come first. True. Oh, I feel like I got sidetracked into something that I was going somewhere and then I got sidetracked into something else. Shit. Oh, we were talking about fights. Never been in a school fight. Oh! I think this happened in middle school. I think it was middle school. It was not middle school. I was probably 14, 15 years old. I feel like I started dating pretty early in school. I don't know. I had a girlfriend when I was 13, 12, 13. I don't know if that's normal or if that's fairly early. I don't know nowadays. I don't know when kids start dating nowadays, but that was kind of normal. I feel like people started to kind of do that stuff around 12, 13 years old. And so I had a girlfriend late in middle school. I was I think we were 14, 15, something like that. And there was another guy that liked her that was way bigger than me. This dude was probably twice as tall as me. This guy was big. He was big, but he was lanky, but he was tall. And he was I don't know if this is nice to say anymore, but I grew up in backwoods of Wisconsin. So he was pretty redneck. He was pretty redneck. And he liked my girlfriend at the time. And so at one of the football games, because everyone hangs out with each other at the football games, you just kind of run wild and sit up in the stands together and everything as a class or whatever. This dude, the only thing close to a fight, I guess, and this really isn't even close to a fight, but we were standing next to each other and this dude came up behind me and stuck his foot out and then shoved me forward into the ground, and I guess did that to try and impress my girlfriend at the time. I don't really know, but she wasn't really into it, so I don't know. How backwoods are we talking? Hayward, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, Hayward, Wisconsin. That's where I grew up. That's where I went to high school. Yeah, that's where I grew up from, like age 9 or 10 to graduating high school. Oh, just south of Eau Claire. Nice, yeah. Cool. Yeah, Eau Claire was always the... I feel like in baseball, Eau Claire always had like 2 baseball teams. If I remember, maybe it was 3 baseball teams. But Eau Claire was... Eau Claire... We always used to call them by the colors, too, of their jerseys. I think there was Eau Claire Red and Eau Claire Blue, maybe? And Eau Claire Blue used to kick our fucking ass every time we did like a traveling tournament for baseball. Man, we'd just get our asses kicked by them constantly. We would beat Eau Claire Red every once in a while, but Eau Claire Blue would kick our ass. Yeah. North, I think, is blue. Yeah. But yeah, fun times. Fun times. But yeah, I don't really think I have much else for tonight. Appreciate you guys. Definitely a small world, by the way, for sure. I appreciate you guys coming by. When does 151 come out? Is that this weekend or next weekend? Pokemon 151 release date. 16th. Okay, so we have Paldea Evolved next weekend, and then we have Pokemon 151 the weekend after. That's awesome. So I have 2 boxes of 151 coming in, and then hopefully the weekend of next weekend, we will be opening 4 boxes of Paldea Evolved. And then from there, we just go from there. But yeah. I don't miss conditioning. I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of misses it. Just because it was... One thing I don't miss is I played basketball too for a while, and I get really bad shin splints. There was a time in basketball that like I could barely even walk because my shin splints were so bad. But yeah, basketball didn't last very long because everyone else grew, everyone else got taller, everyone else hit like the 6 foot, the 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, and I just kind of stayed where I was. So basketball didn't really end up being a thing after like everyone else was hitting 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, and I was like, hey guys, I'm still 5'7". Yeah. Don't know how this happened, but actually I know how it happened. My dad's 5'8", 5'9", my mom's, 4'11", 5 foot. So I was destined to not be very tall. I don't come from a very tall family. What's up, Michael? How's it going? But yeah, I'll probably wrap it up here. If you guys haven't seen it or want to go back, I did do the monthly sales breakdown, profit loss about 20 minutes ago maybe, so you guys can definitely go back and check out that. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I will be at Charlotte. Yep, I will be in Jake, Pokenomics, and Catch 'em All Collectibles section. What's up, Michael? I'm ready. I'm ready to answer. If I can. I hope I can. But yeah, I will be at Charlotte. I'm really excited for that. Very excited. I got tagged. Oh. Oh. What is this for? Why did I get tagged? Oh, I got tagged there. Okay, that's fine. I got tagged a bunch in Discord here recently. Okay. That's fine. Wait, I still have a mention? Why do I still have a mention? All right. All right, here we go. Let's see. First question is like, what shows are good to sell at? Most of the shows around here are all sports card shows. I'm not really sure. I mean, the show that I do is a Comic Con. It's not even. It's mostly comic books, and I just happen to be a Pokemon guy who wants to go. So it's I don't I don't really know. I still tend to do decently at the Comic Con, even though it's not necessarily Pokemon cards. Like people aren't going for Pokemon cards, but people tend to go with their kids. So their kids come over to my booth while they're looking at the comics, and then they end up buying stuff for me. So yeah, so I honestly I don't really know though. There's very little like non-sports TCG conventions. I feel like most of them are, either Comic Cons or you could try going to the sports ones. I know you did the one at the sports one that you felt like you did pretty good though, right? At the sports one. Um, I've only done one show. I think the one show that I did last year, I think it was like 2K. I think I did 2K in sales or around there, maybe like 18, 1900. Um that was I think it was around there, around 2K. Going mostly just to see me. Well, I'm not going to be super interesting. We'll probably be fairly busy too, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have to chat or anything, but um yeah, that'll be fun though. It'll be cool to get to meet people. Sports one wasn't bad. I made like 800ish in sales, but I don't know. I was just seeing my options if there's any other spots to go. I mean, Collecticon is the big one. Collecticon's big though. Like it sells out really fast. Like Charlotte tables went up last night and they're already sold out. So I would say like, maybe get into some communities that go to these different conventions that rent out a bunch of tables all at once, or you could try to see if there's a Collecticon near you that you could attend and try and get a table or half a table or something like that. That's possible, but that's going to be like the major one that is just really TCG focused and not necessarily sports. Although there's still sports there, but it's mostly Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, stuff like that. And that's pretty much. I mean, and maybe a Comic-Con or like an anime convention or something if you have one close to you. That might be something to look into as well. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, cards wise, it's really a lot of the smaller ones are going to be sports, I feel like. So, uh, are you still getting bent by PSA or sending more off to CGC? I both. I send a lot of my new back Japanese to PSA and a lot of my like old back Japanese, sometimes English I'll send to CGC. It really depends. But yeah, I still send to both companies for sure. Do you recommend selling cards to vendors because they usually are less picky and just buy a bunch of my cards, like 70 to 75%? Should I wait it out and just sell full price at your own table? Um, I mean that's really up to you. If you're looking to just move stuff quickly, then moving a lot of your stuff to free up money to buy more stuff, as long as you're still making money and you're not just like cashing out to cash in and then cash out and you're not actually making any profit. Um, if you're looking to just get rid of stuff and move a bunch of stuff, then yeah, that might be a good play just to get 75%. If you're still profiting and then put that money into other things. Or, you could sometimes what you can do is you can sell during the front half and then maybe in the second half or with like a couple hours left, maybe you pack up your table if it's slow and then you can walk around to different vendors and be like, here, I have this binder or whatever. How much will you give me for it? So you could try and do like, like if it's an 8 hour show, you could do 6 hours of selling yourself. And then if you have stuff left over, you could maybe walk around and see if people want to buy stuff. That's possible too. You could try both. Me personally, I would just sell at my own table if I really needed to move stuff. If I was like, I need to get this out ASAP because I need the money for some reason, sometimes I would take a lower price. But I tend to be pretty patient with a lot of my plays and just have stuff sells as it naturally sells. I try not to just offload because typically, I don't know, I have like a min maxing mentality. So I try to max as much profit as I can get out of something. If something's sitting for like 6 months and I can't sell it, and somebody wants to give me, 70% for it or whatever, I would probably sell that. But it just really depends. It depends on your situation. It sucks that a lot of these questions I can't really answer like 100% because, the way that I would do it is probably very different from the way you would do it. Our different like financial situations are completely different. Like, I can give you kind of what I would do, and hopefully that can help you in your decision making. But it's going to be hard on a lot of these questions to give like definite answers. Let's see. I personally haven't thought about doing a sports card show, but I might in the future because there is a sports card show that happens about once a month, I think, or maybe twice a month here at the fairgrounds near Raleigh that I've gone to at least once. And there doesn't tend to be a lot of Pokemon there, so it's something that I might do in the future. But I just come in and bother you with random questions. Hey, I like when people ask questions. I like when people ask questions because it forces me to think about my answers. Because a lot of times I wouldn't be thinking about this stuff for like another person. Sometimes I don't even think about the way that I do it. So being able to formalize it into words and talk about it and think about it is really important. Not only to me, but hopefully it helps you guys out as well. But yeah, I have to go though because it is past my bedtime. Obviously past my cat's bedtime. You can see she's going crazy. And I'm an old man, so I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. I'm going to head out. Appreciate the questions as always, Michael. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, I appreciate you, Garen. Thanks for stopping in. First time. Awesome. Bubble Blower, Crawdad, thank you guys for hanging out. Makisaur, thank you for hanging out. Everybody who stopped in, I appreciate it. And we'll see you hopefully next week. Next week, Thursday. I go live every Thursday. This weekend, I'll probably play some Zelda at some point. So if you're interested in that, you can pop in and say hi. But otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, guys. Have a good one.